seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is very, very early on a Sunday morning, earlier than usual for the Sunday Blether. And no, obviously, I'm not Regan Stevenson, and no, I'm not even Russell Boyce. It's Phil and Mark doing the show today. Yes, because Russell will be hosting PMP later on. But yeah, we have to come on very early today because of Celtic are kicking off at 12 o'clock. Cheers for that, Sky Sports and SPFL. Thanks a lot. But yeah, let's be getting cracking in. So Mark Kearney, the judge, he is here. So quotas in session, everybody. So all rise. How are you doing, Mark Kearney? How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thanks, mate. It's game day. It's been a long time since I've watched Celtic in the league. It feels like anyway. So I'm looking forward to the day. As you said, 12 p.m. kick-off. Thanks to last week being cancelled and Sky moving all your fixtures to a right cunt of a time. But other than that, mate, I'm buzzing for the day. Let's get the Celtic back on. Let's get the players scoring goals, man. Give us all a smile.
Aye, indeed, man. It has felt like a very long time for domestic action. Obviously, we know the reasons why that is. But yeah, it's also felt like every weekend we've always been playing the Sunday game. It feels like it's very rare we'll be getting Saturday games at the moment. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know. I think after this, the next game's Motherwell after the international break. So that'll be a Saturday 3 p.m. But of course, we'll deal with that when we get to it. Now, before we get started, obviously, I'll just remind everybody to do the usual, the subscribe, like, comment, share, all the subliminal messaging that's up above our heads. Just do any of that. And also, you can check out at Hoops Raffles. Their badge is in that corner, I believe, and about there. So check them out on Twitter and Instagram for the chance to win very good Celtic prizes. Definitely worth doing because some of the stuff they're giving away is fantastic. So yeah, man, we'll get into it because there's obviously one main story. We're waiting on the official team line coming out. I'm constantly refreshing the Celtic Twitter and the other page on my other tab just now on Google Chrome. Nothing is out yet as far as I can see. Let me just double check again. Nope, there's nothing. Although they have actually
put here
quarter two. Right, okay, we'll give it another 10 minutes. So for somebody in the chat will also notify us anyway. Also, they have put up a tweet saying that the game is at the SMISA Stadium. Remember the other night we were talking about what is St Mirren Stadium's called? Apparently it's the SMISA Stadium. So it'll be St Mirren something stadium. So it's like, okay, don't know what that's going to be in. But anyway, before the team comes out,
that's getting to the laughing stage now, isn't it? I mean, Okay. Just call it Love Street, didn't you?
Love Street. I said the other night. I said still call it Love Street, even though it's clearly not in Love Street anymore. But
I don't think it was ever called Love Street. It was called St Mirren Park. It wasn't even called Love Street anyway. But anyway.
Oh man, I'm just such an old traditionalist. Me, I just stick to my
Yeah.
roots. Now, before the team does come out, what are you expected to see in starting 11 today? Is he going to ring in the changes after midweek, expending all that energy, or do you think he'll still keep it relatively strong, given we're about to have an international break anyway? How do you think it'll?
I think a mixture of both, mate. I'm kind of hoping we see Ralston get a bit of game time today. I think he's due a start anyway.
Yeah.
I think we might see Big Haksabanovic. I think we might see him on the right hand side though, because I dare say that we've all been under the impression that he's been brought in to play on the right hand side because Jota's not getting displaced on the left, and I don't think we've got him in as a backup for Jota. So let's see how we can play in the position that we assume that he's been brought in for. Although I dare say I know that his best football's on the left hand side to what I've seen. Other than that, I mean, I did see folk mentioning Adam Moy for a start. I don't know the merits of that, to be quite honest with you, just yet. I think he's like comfortable for the last 10-15 minutes of matches that have already been won. He did come on the other day and kind of just do the near beat on work, just the 10-yard pass and just be there. But we need better than just to be there. We need somebody who's going to impose herself on the game. Make killer passes, or if it's coming to defending, impose yourself and be that last brick wall for the defence for counter attacks. And we've not saw him do any of that yet, other than a few chip balls over the top. But to a Kyogo, who's normally not on the park when he's making these chip balls, I mean, we've all been saying for a while now that Kyogo's making these runs behind the defence and nobody's picked it up yet. Ironically, the only person that's been doing maybe chip balls at the top has been Moy, but he's going on at a stage of the game that Kyogo's been took off.
He was unlucky at the end of the game on Wednesday night where he chipped that one over to Giacomakis, who I think I said on the PMP, the goalkeeper gets nowhere near it and actually. Well, Giacomakis doesn't get a touch. The goalkeeper slaps it off of him, basically. If he'd just done it at a slightly different angle, with a wee bit more venom behind it, it would have rolled into the net, but it was just like trickling towards the goal. But that was actually a really good ball over the top. But if you imagine Kyogo getting on the end of that, But in terms of like the Moy thing, like I agree with you. Like so far, he's shown he's a steady hand to come on and calm a game down. I felt when he came on Wednesday night, I think he was fair. I mean, Shakhtar definitely just ran out of steam. Before he came on, there was a few like loose balls in the midfield that we were giving them possession back so easily. But I felt like after that, he kind of calmed it down a wee bit, and Shakhtar just resorted to just lumping the ball forward, and we would just recycle it all the time. It just felt like we were in a bit of control there. But in terms of like, you're not going to see like pure fast, dynamic play from him. Whether he starts today, I mean, I think there's a good chance he's going to. We'll find out very, very soon if he is. And I do think we need to see him in that scenario because, again, as you say, so far we've only really been seeing him coming on when a game's won. We need this could be the, if he gets a start, we'll now get an idea. Plus, it's also going back to the stadium he used to play at. He was a St Mirren player about a decade ago. I mentioned that actually on Nostalgia a couple of weeks ago. That's right. He scored a really good goal for St Mirren against Rangers back in the 2011-12 season in a game at St Mirren beat them. But I returned to the scene of the crime, basically. So I'd be interested if he does get a start. As for Haksabanovic, again, he didn't do much wrong. I mean, he was hooked off at half-time, which was quite an
assist, Phil.
He did, because it was he weaved in from the left-hand side, played it into Hitati's path, and obviously UEFA have given it as an own goal, but I mean, it was going in, the shot was definitely on target. My feeling is only put it as an own goal if the shot isn't going on target. Hitati's shot was definitely on target. It just had to take a wee nick off the inside of the player's leg as he slid for it. But he did very little wrong, but he get hooked at half-time, and I believe it was on the TNF that you were mentioning, like, is this part of like Ange's game plan? Because Maeda seems to come on quite a lot at halftime. I mean, recently he's coming on at halftime and getting hooked. Was it Abada get hooked off in a game for him and stuff like that? And it's like
straight away.
Is that like all?
It's almost like right. I'll give you what he's wanted, and but Maeda's my man. Maeda's the one that's going to play. You know what I mean? I was talking about this last night. Actually, I mean. Maeda, there was a lot of calls for Maeda to be dropped and brought in and bring in Abada. in 110 minutes, Abada scored 5 goals. And I think he had two assists as well. So that's not a 7-goal contributions in 110 minutes. I think merits you a start for any team on the planet. But some folk that was all for Maeda playing on the right. I don't think Jota's the left winger, in my opinion. There's nobody better than Jota. So the only other winger is the right hand side. And if it's a choice between Abada and Maeda, it's Abada every week for me. I don't really know where the confusion is with some people. I think Maeda's he's a workhorse. He contributes so much to the team, you know what I mean? But that only gets you so far, Phil. I don't think Real Madrid was calling it for endeavour. I was calling it for a player with good ability on the ground, you know what I mean? And that was showcased with his 3-yard miss, a goal, if he scored it, that would have totally changed the complex of that second half. I'm not labouring it, mate, but I think it's about time that we put to bed any ideas that there is no favourites within the starting 11, and when really there's about 6 or 7 favourites that will play no matter hell or high water, you know what I mean? But I'm hoping today there's a couple of changes. I think not because I'm not a disrespect to Mirren. I just think the team's going well just now, but it's a squad. I mean, with Aaron Moy, for talking to it, we'll go back to that for 1 minute. Should see in the case of injury, he's the guy that's going to get the end time. I can doubt in my mind that Moy's going to be the first call. So bring them on for 15 minutes and 20 minutes in a game that we're 5-0 up. Isn't it going to do him any good? Let's see what the guy can do when the game's at the nitty-gritty stage.
Well, interestingly enough, the comment I've got up on the screen, I imagine you can't see it, Mark, because we know what you're like. So read it out.
That could be your bank details.
Because in that part of the park, the middle, here's a name that's forgotten. Alan Robertson said, if Ideguchi is fit to play but still can't make the bench today, we need to sell him in January. What's your feelings on that one? Because he has been the forgotten man. He has went right in the pecking order, hasn't he?
He's the dud for Japanese boys. In fact, see when they one out of 40 and bad, as Meatloaf nearly said.
2 out of 3 bad.
I know that. But see when they signed, actually, there's a lot of the sycophantic Japanese media that was saying out of the 4 of them, like that was the one they were surprised about.
Yep.
They were quite surprised that they saw Maeda as a shoe-in. Kyogo was the best player in the league. Hatate just needed to get away from where he was and get back to his best football. But Ideguchi, they said, they're very, very surprised. They said his best numbers were like when he was like 19 or 20 in terms of stats. I kind of think we're on the same page here. I think he'll be the first. Him and Bernabei, they'll be the first ones to go. I think out of Angie's signings, I don't think Ideguchi's going to be a Celtic player. He's another Aburi Kouassi. He'll maybe play 20, 30 games for Celtic all in, and he'll be one of the Twitter pages in 5 years' time saying, you remember he played for Celtic? One of the ones.
One of the forgotten ones. By the way, David Logue's in the comments asking me to check my Twitter DM. I have. I've replied to it, so jump on and have a wee look at my reply, David. Anyway, I'm just
good.
Again, we're still waiting on the old team coming in. It's not official. So yeah, Ralston said that could be one that I could see happening. I mean, as you said the other night, the game up at Ross County the other week, the League Cup game's a good barometer of the type of team that when it comes to a wee bit of rotation, that's what we're going to get. And even though he changed a lot that night, the team was still probably good enough to slap most of the SPFL around, to be fair. So when you hear the word like rotation stuff, you think like, oh God, it could be like youth players coming in, but it feels like we've got so much strength and depth. So if Ralston came in for Juranovic, I wouldn't make a blind bit of difference in terms of the quality. I think you get good work rate out of Ralston, great delivery as well, and he's obviously good way, when it comes to the physical side of the game. The centre-back pairing is probably going to stick with Carter, Vicker and Jens. I would be quite surprised if he tinkered with that at this stage, because at the end of the day, it's still early in the season. We've got to be getting the points on the board. We can't be messing about with that part of the park. The only other option we've got is Welsh at the moment because Starfelt's injury. Bernabei, I don't see replacing Taylor. I know Taylor's about to go off on international duty for Scotland. Andy Robertson's obviously out of the Scotland team. Will Taylor actually get a game? We'll see. I mean, Steve Clark obviously managed Kilmarnock. Before I got to go on with that, I've got some breaking news for you, and it's not the team. It is this, mate. We've got a return to the Boise bus, mate. It's the one and only. It's the one and only David Logue, who we've not seen in a good few weeks. David, mate, how you been, mate? How the devil are you?
I've been better. How's it going?
Oh, mate, smashing, mate. Glad to have you on, mate. When you sent me like the chat there, check your Twitter DM, I thought it was like the team news or something was out, but I was like, even better. You want on, so I was like, of course, mate. Have the link, jump on with us, go on, man. Make it the three amigos, mate. Indeed.
Happy to have
I've been getting grief about my Tyson Fury retirement for a couple of weeks, so I thought, okay, what? I was like, I'll do a Tyson Fury and just turn up somewhere, turn up at Clash of the Castle and pick a fight with Roman Reigns.
Turn up at 11:15 on a Sunday morning. That is certainly a random time to turn up, my man. But yeah, we're just obviously going through the team there. So before it's officially out, David, do you see any major surprises? And just in general, because you haven't been on for a while, what have you been making of Celtic recently and the recent games that we've played?
I've liked what I've seen. I mean, the Real Madrid game, I about went through the telly. I jumped off my seat when Carl McGregor hit that post and I about fell through my TV. Apparently, I think Jota will get benched today. Not for any reason that he's not done well. I just think he needs a rest. I think we can let him have a day off today. I think that Haksabanovic will get a chance and maybe a bad on the right hand side. I think Barnaby will get a run out today because I feel like I'm almost getting to the point where I'm thinking, what's the point of you? Other than you've maybe given Taylor a shot in the arm. I'd like to see it. I think Barnaby's more than capable of playing against St Mirren today. Ralston should get a run out. I'm concerned about what I've been hearing about CCVs. I reckon we might see a Welsh start today. Right. I think we'll see a few changes. I think we might even. I think Haksabanovic, I don't know if I've already said to him. I think he'll start ahead of Jota. Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of changes. I think we need a bit of rotation. I don't know what you guys felt. I missed the Shakhtar game. You guys know why.
Yep.
I'm not going into great detail, but I was unable to watch the game. But I managed to watch the extended highlights when I got home yesterday. And I almost feel like us not play. I know we've said that having the 7 days between games has been good for the team, but I almost feel like that hindered us a bit yesterday. I think we needed that game against Livingston to get the shooting boots back on. You know, we didn't score against Madrid when I felt we could have, probably should have. And I think maybe just getting the goals on the score sheet again would have given us a bit of confidence going into the Shakhtar game. So I feel that played its part on Wednesday night, just a bit of almost lack of sharpness up front. So I think today will be a good day to just get the confidence in the legs and up for the players up front today, whether it's Giakoumakis or Kyogo, probably Kyogo.
Well, I think
we'll see a lot of changes today.
Team's in. Team is officially in, so here we go. Yeah. So make some noise for the boys, everybody. Make some noise for the boys in the comments. It's Hart, Ralston, Welsh, Jens, Taylor, McGregor, Turnbull, Moy, Abada, Maeda, and Kyogo on the bench. Siegrist, Giakoumakis, Haksabanovic, Jota, Bernabei, Abelgard, O'Reilly, Hatate, and Forrest are all on the bench.
So no Carter Vickers even on the bench.
Carter Vickers are making. Now you said there about CCV. I didn't know there was an injury concern with CCV. So what's
I'd heard that there was apparently an issue. There could possibly be a torn muscle. I'm hoping that's bullshit and it's just total nonsense. But I'd been hearing that, and and it's not one I want to be proud of saying, but I might even said it on the show. I was like, we're going to sign CCV. He's going to be the best centre back we've signed in fucking 20 years, and he's going to be our second season, and he's going to be with a fucking massive injury because that's how we managed. That's how we like to roll at Celtic. So I'm pleased. I hope I'm wrong, and it's maybe just a bit of precaution, and they just want to give him a couple of days off to rest up because that would be absolutely horrendous if he's out for the foreseeable.
Fucking right it is. Even Welsh, I'm not going to labour the fuck. If you think Welsh is good enough to play for Celtic, then your ambitions for the club are way
not this Celtic team. I think maybe, you know what I mean? I've got no issues with Welsh, for say. I've lost my tripod, hence my thumb getting in the way there. But
He's a fourth choice for a reason.
He's
David,
he's not first. He's nowhere near first choice for this team, this squad that Ange's been building. Unfortunately, I think this team will pass him by unless he starts real. I mean, he's not done anything wrong. I don't. I'll labour that. He's not done anything wrong. I just don't think he's at the levels of CCV or even Jens. Like, I think Jens is an absolute Rolls Royce at the back. He switches off a little bit. I think he's maybe a bit cockier than he needs to be right now. I think he switched off a couple of times, but I mean, maybe you'll forgive him for that when he's not having to worry about how many goals go in the back of our net when we're putting an average of 4 past our opposition.
It's Sean Ross is saying
CCV and
CCV's
USA
in
squad. All right, okay, that would make
Has he
sense.
been removed? Has he been removed from the squad? Because now, like when they get injured, you might get an announcement they've been removed. But I think what Sean means there is he's still in. So that was quite encouraging. Then that he must, it can't be too long term.
From what I've heard, there's maybe a little niggle there, and
Right.
they maybe just want to give him. I wouldn't risk him for St Mirren.
No.
No disrespect to St Mirren, but I don't think they're going to cause us enough problems there. Fingers crossed, touch wood, that we can deal with. We can deal without having CCV for a game. But having Starfield and CCV out is not great, is it?
No. I think even having Starfield in the team is a worry in their mind. Him being your second choice is just a bit passable for me because he gives me the fear. It really does. You know what I mean? People sometimes just back Starfield because they feel like they need to back the wee guy. It just isn't at the level of everybody else. You know what I mean? But no, I think Jens and Carter Vickers are number one centre back choices, and to have Carter Vickers, hopefully it's just a one match. It would probably be good timing if he has it for maybe 3-4 weeks. That it's maybe coincided with an international break, because that would be good. That would maybe see up maybe a week or two of that. You know what I mean? But David, you put the chat on. I don't know, maybe Thursday or whatever, that Carter Vickers might be out. So if it was as early as that, then it would be a squad omission. So it might just be a bit of paperwork that somebody's figured out to take him out the squad.
USA will want to make sure that he's a last. You know, they all know what they'll remove him for the squad if they don't need to. You know.
Yeah.
As well. So, they want to keep.
Sorry, mate. I was just going to ask because I didn't pick it up. Sorry, mate. So the midfield is Moy sitting with Turnbull and McGregor. Is that
Turnbull,
right?
McGregor, Moy. Aye, it is indeed. McGregor was always going to play, being the club captain, and he seems to just be like the Duracell bunny. He just keeps going and going and going. He never seems to take a break. But yeah, Turnbull's in for O'Reilly. I don't think he does that. And Moy will be probably playing in Hitachi's role, I would guess, unless McGregor's pushed up one and Moy's going to sit deep. But either way, that's your midfield three. Abada, Maida, and Kyogo. The bench again. The bench is Siegrist, Giacomakis, Haksabanovic, Jota, Bernabei, Abelgard, O'Reilly, Hitachi, Forrest. And the concern I've got is if Welsh or Jens go off injured or, heaven forbid, get a red card, which you can never rule out being defenders, there is no centre-backs on the bench. The only defender on the bench is Bernabei. I would only assume that Abelgard, being a big, burly defensive midfielder, would come on and fill in at centre-back if we have an issue there during this game. So hopefully we can get through the game unscathed in that department, because, there is no centre-back options on the bench.
Who's St Mirren's threat? Like, who's their biggest threat up front, if there is one, to worry about? Is there anybody? They got a big, strong centre forward that likes to put an elbow in. There's nobody that's going to ruffle up our centre backs today.
I am not familiar with St Mirren's team. I know that he's bought Stephen Robson's bought pretty much Motherwell's team from 2018. So
just say John Sutton.
John Sutton. Jim Hamilton, mate. He's maybe him. I don't generally know. But yeah, I'm just thinking in my head, like, you know, if a defender, centre back gets injured here or red card, hopefully that doesn't happen. We've not got much on the bench to come on, so we need to get through this one, get an international break, and get a full quota back by the time we play Motherwell in the next league game.
I'm glad to see Ralston got a game.
Definitely.
Like I said, I didn't see. I've only watched the 23-minute extended highlights on BT Sports of the game, and I was. It's hard to comment on when you've only seen highlights, but the goal that we conceded, I'm not going to say that Ralston, if Ralston had played, that we might not have conceded that particular goal. I think his positioning is a lot better than Juranovic. I think Juranovic is a very good player. He's our Croatian international.
Right.
He's I think he's almost been put on a pedestal by our fans, and probably just having he's clearly got a bit of the X factor in his head that he can do what he wants. I think a couple of extra touches here and there that don't need to be done, and I think he finds himself in positions looking for passes in areas that he doesn't need to be in. That's his personal sense isn't the best, whether it's just because he's has so much opportunity to do that against SPFL clubs that he found himself caught out there. But that boy that scored the goal for them, that Ukrainian lad, that boy was absolutely rapid, and that Juranovic is no slouch. I can believe how quickly he just tore away as if Juranovic wasn't there. And I don't think Ralston's any quicker or any slower than Juranovic, but I think positional sense plays a massive part in what happens there. And I just want to be interesting to see how many, if any, assists we see from crosses from the right-hand side today, because on paper, I feel better deliveries might have seen more. I mean, not that we didn't have a lot of chances from what I've seen in the Shakhtar highlights, but maybe better deliveries might have come in. We might have seen a few more goals. So it'll be interesting to see what Ralston brings to the table today, because he's not done anything wrong to be dropped, is he? It's just Juranovic is the preferred choice by the manager, and Ralston just has to be professional about it and wait his turn.
Now that we're into the 2-game-a-week cycle, because of the first month of the season, he pretty much picked the same 11 in the first 4 or 5 games, but now we're getting into this 2-game-a-week thing. We're going to see a lot more rotation, and Ralston, I think, will start getting more games, because there's a lot of questions at the start in that first month there of August where, what's Ralston done wrong? Get a game. But now we're going to see a lot more opportunities for him coming in. It's passport, I guess so. Aye, but no, it's good to see him in the day. But yeah, other than that, the team. We've got your brother Mark.
Who's up front? Sorry again. Who's our striker today? Sorry,
Maida, Kyogo, and Jota. Let me just check it again. No, Abada, Maida, Kyogo. Sorry, Jota's on the bench. So Abada will be on the right-hand side, Maida on the left, Kyogo through the middle. Aye, and Jota.
I'd like to see Yakimakis get a couple more starts. I love Kyogo, and he is my preferred striker out of the two, but he needs to get his shooting boots on, and I think today might have been a good chance to let him just start a game and get a few on the score sheet, because that's the only thing that seems to be missing for him now. He's working his arse off. He had that Brazilian centre back for Madrid terrified, eh? Couldn't believe he had. They didn't know how to deal with him.
Well, Ancelotti at half-time, savvy old fox that he is, just took off Militao and realised the danger, and Rudiger gave him nothing in the second half. Giakoumakis couldn't get the best of Rudiger at all, but that was a manager identifying it right away. Militao was struggling, and I was surprised to see that as well. He was getting ragdolled by Giakoumakis at times.
That was it was the first. I know it's been a few weeks now since that game, and I've obviously not been on here to talk about it, but I couldn't have been any more proud of the team. It's crazy to think that you walked away from a game against Real Madrid, the current European champions. Only one player didn't start that final against Liverpool, and I was almost raging that we didn't get at least a point. I mean, the class shown through in the second half. They stayed in second gear and thought they could stroll it. And then they realised, I don't know if I put it on Twitter, I'd said, Madrid now know they're in a game. They know they're in a game now. And they just decided to go up a couple of gears, and whether tired legs or just obviously, when you're playing up against Brazil's new favourite son, because he's already surpassed Neymar as the new favourite attacking player in Brazil. Apparently, that Vinicius Junior, he's now the golden boy, the poster boy of Brazilian football. He's and he's on the left hand side. What more can you ask from our team to deal with it? I mean, that third goal was just. I mean, goodness sake! I mean, I don't know. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually felt that we handled Madrid better when they were playing with Benzema.
I know. We weren't prepared for Hazard. We weren't.
No, I mean, I think Hazard was. I thought he was finished at Madrid. To be honest, I thought he was just there to fill a bench. To be honest.
Right. By the way, I should have predicted this one earlier when I said that Stephen Robinson's been signing Motherwell's 2018 team. Of course, St Mirren have got Curtis Main up front. James Maguire just came in the comments, says, just check, Phil, Curtis Main starting up front. Of course, I should have seen that. So I know that Louis Molt's gone back to Motherwell, and I was in my head, I had either St Mirren have got Louis Moult or Curtis Main. It's going to be one or the other. It's Curtis Main that they've got. And also, Mark, I saw your brother coming in the comments and saying CCV rumoured to be out for 3 weeks. So that would take us to just after we come back from the international break. So you might very well be getting removed for the USA squad, but hopefully it's not a long-term thing, like David said.
That's not so bad.
Yeah, can't be doing with that at all. Because your Starfelt's still on the
Starfelt's going to be a
sick
niggle,
list at the moment. Yeah. Oh, that would be bad. We don't have Jens and Welsh.
So who's this? We've got Motherwell next, no?
Motherwell on October the 1st, aye. That's the next league game.
What game is that? Is that a weekend game?
That is a weekend game, and I believe October the 1st is a Saturday, which it is, yes. It'll be a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff. Oh,
so that's our next match. It's Celtic Park, you know?
Yes, it is, aye. Celtic Park.
That's all right, yeah. Don't mind playing Welsh at Celtic Park as much. And then hopefully
watch him score the day, Mark, and we'll eat her once again.
That's all right, mate.
Go see well.
You know mate, I think if he scores 5 goals a day, and it's been 5 goals to overturn a 4-0 deficit, my opinion on the guy wouldn't change. He's not a Celtic defender, mate. And I know some folk like to kid on as a Celtic player, probably just to wind me up. To be honest, that's fine. That's up to them. I can have things to worry about, but he's no Celtic class. I said before, if that's the level of Celtic player you want, your ambitions for Celtic are way below what Biner.
Me and Mark, we had a lengthy conversation the other night there about what is it that's happening at Celtic youth level, because we want our young boys to do well. Like, there's no doubt about it.
Yep.
And we all we're all very willing to give the likes of Abada and Barnaby the benefit of the doubt. Oh, they're only 19, they're only 20, blah 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 blah. Because obviously we've paid big money for them, and that whole the whole sexiness of bringing in a player from a foreign land. But we're very. I don't know if we're not patient enough with it, or we just, because of the young Scottish lads, or we're just expecting them all to be like Kieran Tierney or Callum McGregor, who we had to obviously give a bit more time to than maybe Kieran Tierney. But there's a lot of young lads that coming through that are getting on the bench and they're not progressing any further. Stephen Welsh is maybe an exception to the rule lately because of just circumstance. We had players out, and he was the under-21 captain, and he was maybe a standout in that youth team. But we've had the likes of Muffet leave. Dembele didn't get a new contract.
Yep.
Doak was desperate to get out of Celtic by the looks of it.
Yep.
Why is the players that look like they're going to go into good things so quickly moved on to the big Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Blackpool?
Yeah.
I thought that Muffet was destined for
Blackpool, man.
the juggernaut that is Blackpool.
Well,
I can just listen, Muffet. We'll give you free entry to the fucking Pleasure Beach every weekend.
That's so
as part of your bonus. Come away.
I'm glad, David. I'm glad you brought this up, mate, because this is something that, funny enough, I was talking to Russell last night about this when we were having a blether on the phone, and I mentioned this. This is something that I've said it a couple of times, show, but I don't think a lot of it's Celtic's fault, right? Because if some people are saying it must be there must be a problem at our youth system and that, because we haven't produced a real great crop of youngsters. I think the whole SPFL structure with what they do with our reserve team is massively flawed, because they've got this. They took away the reserve league years ago, an actual proper structured league. And
I don't know why I've done that.
Yeah, they've done that.
I know why you did it, because Celtic were only 8 in a row.
Oh, right, okay.
So Rangers were the first team to withdraw. Rangers withdrew on the 9th season. And then all of a sudden, Hearts and Hibs and Kilmarnock said it wasn't financially viable anymore because the Rangers were at it, and that's the exact reason. Of
course. So the current happy medium they've got is they've allowed the Colts team to play in the Lowland League, the I don't know what tier that is in Scottish football, the 5th, the 6th, whatever it is. But basically, if Celtic's B team or even Rangers, and I think Hearts have got their B team in there this year, if any of them win that division, they don't get promoted. So what that says to me, the red flag that for me is, so there's no consequence for any of the games. They're basically glorified friendlies every single game. Plus, they're playing against guys that were maybe pro 5 or 6 years ago, guys who are part-time, they've got other jobs. But you look at Ben Doak, who went down to Liverpool, right? Now he's not going to get a game for Liverpool's first team anytime soon, but playing for their reserves, he's playing against professionals every single week in a structured league where there's promotion, relegation, that there's consequence, there's things on the line to challenge them and make them want to play better. To me, it's just like there's nothing on the line for these guys, and I can't imagine that it's going to test their mental attributes as well. I mean, you'll see, are these players up for it? Do I really play glorified friendlies every single week? That's what it feels like to me. So I think a massive problem is just the structure that the SPL put in place. I don't think the B teams in the Lowland League is a great idea if there's nothing really on the line for them. So that's
look at the quality of the players that Liverpool youth are up against in their youth system. You know, that Ben Doak scored, I'm sure he scored 2 in the youth cup for Liverpool maybe a weekend or 2 weekends ago. I mean, and when you look at the quality of pitch that they're playing on, they've got crowds. You know, they're playing in against other top youth players that are going to end up being first team regulars for other Premier League clubs, whether they make it at the youth club that they're at or not. You know, the quality. It's almost as if they're playing professional level football. It's certainly in an environment that feels like it, in a competitive environment. Would you rather be playing against John Dole? It's a sparkier during the week, eats 4 Scotch pies during the day, built like a brick shit house. It's going to 2-foot tackle you on a Sunday, or you want to play against an upcoming English centre back that's going to possibly be in the next international in 5 years' time. You know, what would you rather be doing? Not to mention the cash that's
of course,
these boys at that level still.
No, I think you're right, but David, I think even if you leave out the cash, I mean, that in Scotland, as you said, they're playing against guys that were pro 5 years ago. So that's guys winding down their career. Whereas you're just mentioning England, they're playing against guys whose career's just kicking off. They're hungry, they're still got a desire, the ambition to get to the first team. So it's 2 totally different spectrums, you know what I mean? You've got guys just playing for a hobby and guys playing because they want to make a career out of football and go as high as possible. That's your disparity there straight away. I think you've got to have a competitive league for these youngsters.
Short career. When Liverpool come calling, you can't question somebody that wants to. Liverpool are coming.
Do you know?
It's Liverpool.
Definitely, mate. And see, the fact of the matter is, Chelsea have done it for years. They'll buy players that will never play for the first team, but they'll buy them in, and it'll be, in their level, it will be very minimum cost, even through their wages. But they'll loan them out to a team in the Dutch league and get £8 million back for them. And they'll make maybe a £4 or £5 million profit. Chelsea do it with 10, 20, 30 players a decade, maybe bring in a couple $100 million just on players that they didn't actually have any ambition of them playing. They're probably brought in with the focus at improving the level of team they're at, but long term it was just about selling them. I think I heard Jim Duffy speak about it when he was in at Chelsea. It was like he'd have a squad of 20, 30 players that he knew, and every one of them was probably had a very little chance to get into the first team, but their ambition was to propel them up to a level that they could be loaned out with a view to a Dutch team or a championship team, or even a Celtic or Rangers buying them for 5-6 million and making a £4 million profit on that one player. And if you're doing that 20, 30 times a decade, that's a lot of money. It pays for the youth system and more so probably, you know what I mean? And in case you do get a John Terry popping through, you know what I mean? That pays for that, you know what I mean?
Aye.
But I agree. I think the avenue for the players isn't there, but I suppose if you're good enough, you're going to force your way through.
Yeah.
I suppose not always the case. But nah, there has to be maybe a focus for the players, not just playing against brickies and playing for.
What we were saying the other night was, you know, Ange was touted to be this guy that will give youth a chance, and right now I don't think there's been that much of a track record to suggest that is the case. But I don't think it's the case he's just decided I'm not going to give the youth a chance. I genuinely believe he's looked at that B team and went, no thanks.
Oh, he sort of stated them. I mean, they're doing there.
There's a reason why Stephen McManus got brought up into the first team. This is my theory, right? Stephen McManus comes up to the first team coach for a year, learns how Ange wants the style of football to be from top to bottom. Right, your mission now is to make sure that they boys in the B team are playing exactly how we play They train exactly how we play.
Definitely.
They eat exactly what we eat, because they're not going to get any better the way they are now, and they're never going to make it into my first team. The way they're playing. So that's your mission statement. That I don't think it was a demotion because we're bringing in Harry Kewell. I think it's a case of now I need one of. Now you have become one of my guys. You're one of Angie's coaches now. You've been with me for a year. You know how I work. You know how I like to work. You know how I like to structure the training sessions. Now I need you to start turning the boys in the B team into possible options for me moving forward. If I've got this 5-year plan of getting Celtic as a Champions League team every year, whereas we can always, if we can't get a first choice that we've seen in the transfer market, then I know that there's a boy in that B team, and they're there for a reason, and that's to feed into our first team. I think that's what I think that's what. And until Stephen McMahon gets the boys playing to a standard that Angie's happy with, we'll not see a B team player on the bench unless we're in dire straits. If I'm being honest, that's what I think. That's why I think Steve McMahon was. I don't think there was any demotion there. I just think we'll bring you up for a year. We'll get you learning the way I like things to be, and then your job's to start whipping these boys in shape. Because they're not at it right now.
My worry is he's the next Neil Lennon for the board as well.
Who's that?
He's the next shoe-in.
McManus.
That's my worry. That's my long-term worry, that he's the guy who's going to come in for 3 games while we try and find a new manager, and within the 3 games you win 2-0 3 times, and before you know it there's a big call to give him the job until the end of the season. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but my fear is that he's been given the reins to see what he can do. And what David said is definitely right. See, I spoke about this. You don't loan out players that are playing in different systems to what you're playing. You've got to have players playing in a certain way. Rogers did it with the youth teams. He had them all playing the exact same way. Yeah, I'm hoping that what David said is right. I believe that is too. When he's wanting the first team and the B team to be playing the same way, in case of emergencies, he can say, okay, it's not ideal, but their left back has been playing inverted. He's playing the same system. He's not going to be of Taylor's level, but at least he's well skilled in how we play.
Yeah,
that's seems pretty obvious, but it's worth mentioning. Definitely.
Now, before we move on to the next part of the show, I'll just remind everybody there's 133 watching right now. Plus, there's a few comments have came in the last few minutes. People watching from Australia, because obviously the time difference. So if it's your first time on the bus, guys, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and all that other good stuff, because it massively helps at the channel. Now, just really quickly before court is in session and the judge will be taking the stand. Quick predictions, Mark. What's your score prediction for today, mate?
I can't remember what I said before, but because the team's changed, I'll get poetic license. I'm going to say 3-1 Celtic.
3-1, David.
I'm going to say 4-1 Celtic.
4-1 Celtic. I'll go 3-0 to Celtic. Hopefully, just any win for Celtic will do. But and this will just get a few of the goal differs up a wee bit more again, just further stretch that again and get the 3 points on the board. But yeah, resounding, and I'm looking at some of the predictions that came in the chat. Everyone's very, very confident of the result. Now, let's move on to our final part, because there's a big talking point. Because here's one of everybody's favourite parts of the show on the Sunday Blether. Judge Kearney has got something he wishes to discuss, wishes to talk about, a very hot topic at the moment. So Mark, I will hand it over to you, mate, and you can lead the way on this one, mate, because it's been quite an interesting week in the news regarding Celtic, and I don't mean football wise, but go ahead, sir.
It's a touchy subject, and it's my words, and it's my views. It's not anybody else's on the show, so if anybody wants to focus any criticism, just find me on Twitter or whatever. No, I'm actually appalled and disgusted at the way the media is treating our club this week. I think we got guys like James Whale on Twitter. Never heard of the prick. He's on Top TV. He's calling us scum, and then reminding people to tell their friends that he called us scum. This is a guy who suggested that a man should be passed through with a knife because he touched the coffin of the Queen, etc. He's describing Celtic as vile and scum, and This is a guy who laughed at a rape victim live on air. He laughed at her and got removed from TalkSport because of it. We got Jeremy Kyle, a man who made a living out of people's misery, so much so that one man committed suicide because of him. You know what I mean? And bringing on people on his show to parade them as some sort of circus for people in upper class to enjoy. Nah, it made me sick the way your club's being portrayed. In the last week, we've seen Napoli players. I'm going to be dramatic here because they could be dramatic. We've seen Napoli players' lives being put at risk by Rangers fans trying to jump on the park and batter them at full time. Not a word. There was a Buckfast bottle thrown at a 10, 11-year-old boy yesterday at Ibrox. Not a word said about that. But a banner saying F the Queen. I'll use the words of that baldy prick James Whale, frig the Queen. That was a banner held up by some boys. And do you know what? That's up to them. That's their right to say that. Celtic don't need to come out and condemn any actions they'll support. If it's violent or if it's inciting violence, the club should come out and say that. I'm just sick to the back teeth of how our club being portrayed, how our fan base is being portrayed. The Green Brigade 4 or 5 years ago displayed Palestine flags, and UEFA were that disgusted by it being a political statement. We got £100,000 fine, which the Green Brigade then raised the money for and gave to charity. But anyway, in the same week here, Rangers publicly defied UEFA's laws and rules, by playing the national anthem. And they actually said we're going to be doing this just to defy you, just to be defiant. We're going to do this. No such action was taken towards them, which doesn't surprise me. But you can't have it both ways. A rule's a rule. Both are political statements. Both had prior knowledge that it wasn't supposed to happen. Celtic getting dragged through the mud by these fucking low-life bastards in the media. Jeremy Kyle, Piers Morgan, a guy who hacked a dead woman's phone. The day I take morality lessons for the scum of the earth, these bastards, is a sad day for me. I just think Celtic. The only statement I want to see for Celtic today or regarding this issue is we stand by our club's philosophies. We stand by our charity principles. We don't condemn the actions, we don't condone the actions of every member of our support, and we don't condemn them individually either. And I think it's about time that the Daily Record and the Sun stop this, as I'm calling it, mourn watch, to see who's mourning, to see who's no mourning. I don't give a fuck about the Queen, right? See whether you do, Phil, or you do, David, that's your business and that's your right. Don't expect everybody else to be miserable because all week you've played sad music to try and dampen the mood of the nation to make us all feel sad. I couldn't give a flying fuck. I care about as much as her as she cared about me. But that's my opinion, mate. I'm entitled to that opinion. But I'm just fed up this week. Every single time I log on to Twitter, there's some fucking celebrity speaking about how he's disgusted and appalled. The guy who said he's appalled by his Celtic fans, right? The same guy said that a guy who touched the coffin should have been stabbed.
Oh, God.
In front of mourners. Wanted him stabbed with a sword. He told a Celtic fan who phoned up to ask him to explain his action, his words. He told him he wasn't going to speak to him because he's scum. All because he held up a banner saying, frig the Queen, as he called it. Fuck the Queen. I'll say it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not a monarchist. I don't give a fuck about them. They can target me all they want. I mean, by all means, on you go. I'm just fed up listening to it, mate. I'm fed up with them. Fed up with them, mate. They're all queuing up to see a box that she's not even in for a start.
Well,
you know what I mean? She's buried somewhere else already. Let's just stop the carry on that. Celtic's playing the day. It's all about Celtic.
Yeah.
Rangers, by the way, one thing, just a wee footnote before I finish on that. By the way, see that God Save the King, whatever. They're going to play that before every match now. And see, there's a line in that, right, saying, God Save the Queen, it was at the time, born to reign over us, right? No, she wasn't. The only reason she was anywhere near her position is because her uncle wanted to marry somebody who was getting divorced, who got divorced. She wasn't born to do anything. She was born to be a distant cousin in the royal
She
family.
became queen out of circumstance.
Aye, she wasn't born for fuck all. That's how stupid these cunts are. That's how daft these fucking muppets are. And God didn't save her either. There you go. There you go. That's my say on it. That isn't your words or your words, David. That's my words for anybody who wants to contact the show about it. That's my fucking words.
If that doesn't deserve a like, everybody, then I don't know what does. Mark Kearney, the judge, absolutely phenomenal against her.
Sorry, mate, I went a bit of a rant there.
No, that's what this section's about.
That's just my saying. It's at Kearney Mark. If anybody wants to abuse me, don't, because I like these other two on the show. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll a wee bit in that. Obviously, we've been down this road before with good chums at UEFA when it comes to because in fact just a couple of weeks ago on Nostalgia when I did the 11-12 season, we had a issue where we unfurled a banner against Udinese in the last game where it said "fuck UEFA." I can't remember what our beef was with UEFA at that time, but basically the Green Brigade unfurled one there.
They moved their game to a Tuesday afternoon or a Wednesday afternoon because it was clashing with Champions League games. Was it not?
That was it.
There was no real reason why they couldn't have just showed, because let's be honest, there'd be more people watching our game at 8 o'clock at night than any Champions League game that was on that night.
Right, okay, that was because I can remember that, and we got in trouble because basically they say that you can't have the word fuck in a banner, right? That's it. It's like the banner the other night, there was one next to saying sorry for your loss, Michael Fagan. I think I thought that was quite
a funny one.
Aye, but obviously it's the other one that I annoyed about, and it's not necessarily the political side of it. It's just that one word being in it. If that word wasn't in it, then the UEFA wouldn't be coming after us again with another fine, I'm sure. But in terms of UEFA, like hypocrisy, you're mentioning there, like they told like Rangers and all British-based teams that are playing at home on through the week there, don't play the national anthem, and obviously Rangers defied it. And again, like they're very inconsistent.
The national anthem, mate. That's the most bonkers part. It's like it's not.
David,
you do realise you are based in Glasgow. I get they're unionists and they're all, you know, they're about the Queen and all and about Britannia and all that kind of stuff. But you don't play the national. Play the Scottish national anthem. If you're going to play a national anthem, that's where you're based. It's just funny. It's just funny. I mean, the whole thing. I just like my view on it is I'm not going to go off anywhere near what Mark was saying. I don't think there's anything needs to be repeated. It's already been said. They've never put me up or down. I've got family members that are oddly into the monarchy. I think they just are just fascinated by the whole thing, whether it's the history of it, I don't know. Some of it I think is just a bit of faux loving at the minute. People running to go and take a video of the Queen passing on the motorway because it's being a part of history. It's like, no, it's been a part of your Instagram story for 30 seconds because you want to say you were there. You're never going to, in 50 years' time, you're not going to tell your grandkids, I saw Queen Elizabeth II dive past in her coffin on the A92. Like it's just not going to come up in conversation because people aren't going to care then. People won't care by then.
She's not there either, mate.
Well, that's it. But I just, if this was North Korea, you'd be over here going, what the fuck, you know? Like they're forcing an entire nation to mourn somebody that half the nation don't like or don't care about. You know, if people want to mourn, that's their right to do so. And you know, if you genuinely feel sad about the passing of the Queen, then okay,
do it quietly.
That's fine, and you can do your stuff. I don't think it should be at the expense of the taxpayers. I think that's the biggest gripe I think that people don't have. But like shutting businesses, shutting food banks on the funeral, I don't see any need for that. Give me a legit reason why that needs to be done. Like I've got no affiliation to Queen. Obviously, I don't particularly care. She didn't put me up or down. I don't believe for a second that she would want the British public to be closing food banks for her funeral. I don't believe she was that kind of person. I mean, I think she was a lot of things, but I don't think she'd be wanting that. I don't think she would give a shit if my barbershop shut on a Monday, or Witherspoon's closed on Monday for her. She's not. She doesn't. I think that's one thing that they keep saying about her. She was so selfless in her 70 years of reign. I'm like, right, well, she was so selfless. She wouldn't give a shit about Monterey Jacks and Dunfermline shutting for a day. That's what blows my mind. If this was North Korea, we'd all be going, wow, that is mental.
Well,
That's,
David, can you
that's,
say there was a video you might have saw it, mate. Somebody put like a BBC video of people mourning, etc. And then put the BBC's reporting of South Korea with when was it the old ruler died?
When Kim Jong-il died in North Korea,
they dubbed it. They dubbed it so that it had the exact same commentary as what was said then, but just put the today's story on it. And it was seeing it was going clip to clip. You were going, that's exactly what it is. I saw a picture. I assume it's London. And it was like the big banners with the Union flags, and it looked like Nazi Germany. You know, it really did. It genuinely looked like Nazi Germany. It's like the banners at Rangers, like 55 and 150, whatever it is. It's like right in your face. We all know it was all lies. It was our first title. And it always will be our first title. We can't win 55 weeks in 12 years, but 10 years. But when you tell everybody else it that much, you start to believe it yourself. And I think that's what it was. It's just like, we are imperialistic. We love ourselves, and you will love us as well. You know what I mean? In fact, do you know something? I actually recorded it on a screen grabbed it yesterday, so I tuned into the radio. See on the BBC's before the minute's silence, Dundee United team can run out the tunnel, and you could hear a Rangers fan shouting on the radio. I'll send you to it once the show's finished. You hear them shouting, "You Fenian bastards," as they come running out the tunnel, right? BBC didn't apologise for that. They didn't apologise for that, the BBC, right? But see, we've got to be sitting and listening to him apologising for Dundee United fans shouting "Lizzie's in a box" or whatever. So you can be racist live on air and no apologies given, but somebody just having a wee joke or a wee quirk or whatever you want to call it.
If they were clever, they would have just done a minute's applause. Just
what's what we've got to do today, mate? That's what we've got to do today.
Oh well, see, the thing is, mate, like Sky are loving it. Don't even think any different. At the end of the day, Celtic are blockbuster. There'll be so many eyes tuning into our game today just to see what we do.
Do you know what I want to see, David?
And Sky are loving it. They'll not mute it immediately.
No.
They'll let it happen.
I want to see a big flag saying "Frank the Queen," because then it's aimed at that guy James Whale. I want to see that, mate, because then he knows that we don't give a shit how much I think he thinks we're scumbags.
They'll turn it up, James. They'll leave the microphones on for a good 10 seconds first, because they'll want their story.
Yeah, we passed on social media. It'll be clipped.
I want their story, mate.
Pass.
And that's the thing is, was there any mass? Did Jenny McKell jump on Twitter yesterday, or Piers Morgan jump on yesterday when Hibs fans and Dundee United fans were because
they're not box office.
They're no box office, mate.
No, they are not. But when you look at the unsavoury characters though that have been coming out and having a go at it makes us kind of think, we're probably on the right side of this argument. Really, I don't really want Jeremy Kyle to like us.
They didn't watch our game. The guys that all came out and criticised, they didn't watch the game.
James Whale said something in one of his rants about they give the city of Liverpool a bad name, and it's like the clues in the name, Glasgow Celtic. We're not from Liverpool. One comment he's calling us Scottish scum, and I'll see same with Liverpool, and I'm like, make up your fucking mind, mate.
Did you watch any of the games yesterday? So I was on my couch all day yesterday, recovering. So I watched the Man City game, and I watched the Tottenham Leicester game. Both of those games had hecklers. There's people in every support. There's how many thousands of people who's going to football games? Not every single one of them has a positive thing to say about the monarchy. They've even got a family member of the monarchy that hates them that much that he flew his wife to America, and they've been living out there since because they can't stand their own family. You're not telling me that the entire Leicester City or stadium at Spurs' new stadium, every single fan in that stadium are mourning The Queen.
Nobody's mourning. They cunts mourning, mate. You just got to be seen as mourning.
I'm
As
mourning,
you said,
mate.
that
I'm
Toby
mourning.
Jug and Dunfermline, aye. That Toby Jug, whatever it
I'm
is,
in bits.
they've got to be seen to be mourning,
Couldn't even.
because see if they don't, they'll be ostracised. They'll be known as the people who didn't mourn. And I just got to say that I'm genuinely waiting for somebody like Hitler's grand waiting to come out and see how appalled they were at Ian for Eaglesham holding a banner up about the Queen. I'm waiting for somebody, the most repulsive section of your society, to tell us. When you're talking about a fan base who are brought up to hate before they learn how to love, telling us that we're wrong for fucking holding up banners. Go fuck yourselves.
What happened to sticks and stones don't break my bones.
Just
I'll break my bones, but words will never hurt me. A bunch of ninnies we've got.
Don't they chant nobody likes us, we don't care, but evidently they do very much care.
Until
also,
they say something on a big massive banner about us.
Also, did I imagine this for you? You just saying that there, Mark? Did we not get in some sort of like argument with Mussolini's granddaughter a few years ago? That did happen, didn't it? That was their fever dream or anything, was it? That was a thing after the Lazio game. Aye, that's right.
Him upside down, because that's when he died. They put him upside down for people to attack him, and she thought that was more repulsive than him killing millions of people and being part of a fascist regime and backing Hitler and during the war, etc. But that's another story. But I'm just waiting for somebody.
You can spin any narrative to suit your own, mate. That's Lord we're in now. You know, just literally.
Well, see the day, like for talk's sake, Man City fans who are owned by people who are involved in war crimes and all the rest of it, and all the rest of it. When they tell us how to behave, right, that's the day I give it up.
So Newcastle's latest owners, man. Don't tell me there's not blood on their hands. Like
there's blood on, of course. I mean, there's blood on her hands and all. I mean, how many folk were? Even the crown she wore on her head was diamonds stolen from countries that didn't belong here.
South Africa.
For fuck's sake. I mean, the Indian fucking took the diamonds out of their bloody horns, took the pride of the diamonds out of their deed horns, and put that in her crown. We have to sit there and mourn for somebody.
Well, Paddington would have something to say about that, Mark, all right? So
I know.
You just what you're talking about, right? Paddington.
I mean, thanks for your service. Thanks for your service. I don't know what you did, but thanks for it.
Aye, whatever it is. But yeah, it's been an explosive one. And say Judge Kearney, it's always a entertaining segment. And say if it doesn't deserve a like, then I don't know what does, because that's what you get on the Sunday Blether.
What a risky show to jump on.
Welcome back, David. Welcome back. It's good to see you. You've picked the right time to come on. It's good. So yeah, the show's just started. I won't be listening to Chris Boyd now, but yeah, we will wrap up now. And yeah, it's been good. So later on today, Russell will be back hosting the post-match pitch after the St Mirren game. I don't know who's going to be on with him at that point. He'll obviously have that all decided in the next hour or so. But yeah, it'll be hopefully he'll be talking about a resounding Celtic victory, or just any Celtic victory, as I say, will do for me, get those 3 points on the board. But it has been fun, and the comments are definitely green. And again, so many people from Australia in the comments today. Russell even popped up and said it's good to see so many of them. We're on 182 right now on Blink 182. There you go. We're on that live right now. So yeah, if you again just hit the like, subscribe button, all that other good stuff, it helps the channel out massively. So we're out here to go and watch the Celtic St Mirren game, and yeah, hopefully it's all going to be another beautiful Sunday for the Celtics. So yeah, everybody, we shall catch you later on, and everyone, thanks for watching. Mark, David, it's been a pleasure as always, lads, and have we bladder you see we go off air. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and come on, Celtic, get it done today.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Cheers,
guys. Thanks.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.